Rich Ortiz here with the fighters' voice,
the
the
only
only
voice
that matters.
You have that fire on you right now.
Talk about Mets getting Independence Day. We can call it
Atlas
here in Las Vegas, Nevada. You heard from the champ himself.
Rich Ortiz here with the fighters' voice, the only voice that matters. And like Eddie
Lopez, because Josh Taylor is
the 4th Division World
Good
Champion.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your
Mikey
host, Richard Ortiz of the Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. And I'm like our guest tonight, Mr. Ralph Velez. We're simply knocking out the competition. We're going to be talking about David Benavidez, and we're going to be talking about how Ralph feels about his hometown of Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to talk about Devin Haney, Regis Prograis. And we're also going to talk about all the meat in 140-pound division, Ryan Garcia and his comeback fight. And we also got to touch up on the Charlo brothers. And let's just talk boxing. Let's talk baseball. We'll talk basketball or whatever comes to mind. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce our guests. Ladies and gentlemen, fighting out of the blue corner, coming in at a trim and ready 200 pounds from Phoenix, Arizona, the one, the only rambling Ralph Velez.
What's up? Thank you. I appreciate that intro, man. I appreciate the intro. The 200, we're working on that, but I appreciate the love, man. Thank you very much.
Oh man, come on! I said a trim and ready.
Yes, we're getting there. We're almost there, man. We've been hitting it hard. How you been?
I've been good, man. I've been good, and I've been following you and watching you, and I see some moves and some doors opening, and just I was real serious when I put, because I could easily describe you as a ring announcer, but when I put worldwide ring announcer, because that's exactly what you are. When you hear that title, that category that you fit in, and not so many can fit in there, how does that make you feel, Ralph?
It's cool, man. And I tell you, you and I, we've known each other for a long time. I've been really working hard on this, man. As you know, this isn't easy. There's only very limited spots. And sometimes it feels good to have someone from another region, from someone that is a day ahead of you in time. My promoters that I'm working with a lot now, it's already the next day for those guys. They're already, 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning right now. I mean, they're getting their day started. So it feels good. It feels good to be able to give what the Lord gave me to those fans over there across the pond and in other regions. And it's a good feeling, man. It really, really is. Because not only do I get to do it here at home in my hometown and for people in the States to be able to share the love, really, because it's not you and Bull. I know we're not going to be gajillionaires doing this kind of work. We do it because we're passionate about it and we love it. And to be able to give that vibe off halfway across the world is pretty awesome. It is.
You almost answered my next question. What's the energy like once you're in front of thousands of people, introducing Floyd Mayweather, the same energy to coming to your hometown of Phoenix, Arizona? Does anything change? What's your mindset? How do you prepare yourself? And how do you feel when it's all said and done?
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Like Tokyo is probably the biggest crowd I've ever been able to announce in front of. It was 70,000.
Give me a number. 70,000?
So the first time it was when he fought Tension, it was like 70. The second time they said it was like 59. So 70 is probably the biggest. But
Wow.
they're so polite, right? So you want them to scream, man. You want them to have a good time and say, you know what? You don't have to be polite in here, dude. You paid a lot of money. Like you don't have to give the quiet, like, let me hear you, And again, I think we had this story the last time about when I did Tension. They're like, dude, don't do your Vegas style. Just be real, quick and polite. And I said, yeah, I may never come back here again. I may never be able to announce this Rising Ring again. I'm just going to give it to them. And if I fail, I fail. And we go back to the drawing board. But if you go and look at the YouTube video, I announced Tension's name and they went bananas, dude. And that was awesome. The hair stood up on the back of my neck because I was like, okay, they told me not to do it. We did it anyway. And they felt my vibe. They felt how excited I was. And they got to cheer like crazy, man. So being here at home though in Phoenix is different. Like, you do stuff for the Garcia family sometimes. And, when you're like in San Bernardino or Fresno, wherever they do the cards at, it's a lot of hometown fans. So, I mean, these crowds are, especially the Latino crowds, get crazy. Iron Boy Promotions here in Phoenix, we have about 2,500 to 3,000 every 6 weeks. Our fighters have a big fan base. So I really enjoy those because I know that when I read Checo Rodriguez's name or Carlos Castro or whoever is fighting there that bout, I already know it's going to go crazy. So for me, if I can get these guys to pop, whether it's in Dubai or Tokyo or Phoenix, it makes me feel good at the end of the day. So it's cool, man.
So you feel more comfortable at home, or do you feel more pressure at home?
There's pressure every time out. The last show we did in Abu Dhabi was really weird because it was a real small private show, probably about 200 people max, but it was all over the world on the zone. So you could have 70,000 people, and the way I looked at it was, okay, these guys don't understand what I'm saying. They don't really probably don't majority of them don't speak English. If I mess up, they don't know who I am, so I'm just gonna go home and then we'll call it a day. On the zone, it doesn't matter where you're at. Everybody can see you, and
Yeah.
you make a mistake, they're gonna be all over you. So there's a lot of pressure. Our Iron Boy cards are streamed on Boxing TV. We are supposed to team up with Naciones Boxing and the Vargas family here coming up in the next couple of months. So
Yeah.
again, there's gonna be now it'll be not only pressured not to mess up in front of my mother every 6 weeks, but now I've got my mom and now the zone audience hopefully coming soon. So it's pressure pretty much everywhere, man.
News is breaking. A lot of people in the industry, they were well aware, but Showtime Boxing made it official yesterday, I believe. You knew it was coming up. How did you prepare yourself for it? When you first heard it, did you think it was just speculation, rumor? And how are you receiving it? And what's your next move?
You start hearing the rumors about it. We started hearing it as early as a year and a half ago, but in that time frame, I have to mention this, even though people like to rag on Steven Espinoza, and I don't even know, why. I get it. He doesn't hold back on his Twitter. He lets his feelings know about, how he's feeling about stuff in the world. Like every American has the right to. That's why the soldiers go and fight for our freedom to be able to say what we want and respect it and be okay with and wanting your opinion respected as well. But he did a lot of things, man. He fought off a lot of competitors for these fighters. I mean, I'm not going to get into details because it was a private conversation, but they were coming after his fighters. They were coming after the Showtime stars, full fledged, like right there in front of him, and he battled hard to not only get like a Canelo back, along with PBC connectively to make these things happen. A lot of fighters he kept a lot of them from deflecting, and people don't understand that this business, as I mean, people will sometimes say one thing, brother, and as soon as you leave the room, they're doing other things, and I have to hand it to him. He did a good job of keeping the ship afloat, knowing that it eventually had the Titanic leak in it, and I'm very proud of him. I'm proud of the staff. I'm proud of Gordon Hall, who always would call me and let me know, hey, man, you're gonna get this show. Work hard. It's a show box. Let's talk. Let's see. Talk to me about the fighters. There were good people there. Chris De Blasio, Joe Giacovino. I mean, just countless people. I can keep naming them left and right. I feel really bad for them. I grew up on that network. My very first gig with Mayweather Promotions was a show box 7 years ago now. And that's all I did was, make basically Showtime. I got to know these guys really well. I got to know the fighters really well. I made friends with a lot of people there, and they just let me be myself. That's one thing I got to tell you, Richard. And they never made me, oh, you got to fit in this box. Yes, I post too much online sometimes, and yes, I say stuff that I shouldn't say, and I have to regret it 10 minutes later in a race. But I'm very passionate about what I do. And they just let me be me. They let me just say, Ralph, you know what? Get up there. Like they even give me an opportunity to be the interviewer for the Tank and Pitbull after the weigh-ins, and it sucks because my mic went out. So I was trying to battle my very first interview and having to deal with a mic going out. And if you've been there, it's not a pleasant thing, man, because you're like, what am I going to do? I got the whole worldwide audience now looking, and they didn't give me stuff about it. They were cool about it. And it really hurts, man, because I grew up watching my mentor, Jimmy Lennon, on that network. We would sit with the family and watch Showtime, watch the Chavez fights, watch Tyson fights when he migrated over. And now it's like, man, what's going to happen now? There's talks about the Amazon Prime. There's talks about the Zone. I watched a football game on Amazon Prime the other day, and I was like, shit, I have to watch. I want to watch the Eagles play because I put a wager on it. I'm just gonna say it. I bet on these guys. I put the reluctantly. I put it on Prime, and I was blown away. I was blown away by the coverage. I was blown away by the technology. I was blown away with if they scored a touchdown, you press left on your remote and it rewinds and shows you the replay of the touchdown in case you missed
Oh,
it.
wow.
Awesome. Awesome. So for my friends, it's devastating because those guys, that's all they knew. Like a Raul Marquez, I mean,
Yeah.
he was his own man on there. He was phenomenal there. Barry Tompkins, who had been doing Showbox for many many years. I grew up watching him as well, the Rocky movies and HBO
Yeah, exactly.
and hopefully these guys land jobs with a PBC or another promotion, or they go somewhere, or just don't picks these guys up, or somewhere they end up getting jobs because they're too good not to. But it does suck that a place that you were able to create your own persona, create the Ramblin' Ralph, be able to be next to a Tank and a Floyd, and the Leo Santa Cruzes of the world, and all the PBC fighters that you became friends with. What's going to happen there, we don't know. But my next move is, I didn't really want to go to the Zone at first. I really tried to stay loyal to where I'm at. If you know me, or if anybody knows me, once I become friends with somebody or I'm in a good place, I try to stay there and not get too greedy with things. But now we have to all make a decision here, right? So I've been getting some DAZN action, and for the most part, it's different because the DAZN doesn't really have everybody there at every event. It's like, okay, we're sending you the feed, you link up, and we're gonna broadcast it all over the world, and we'll kind of like, we don't have to be on hand. So in a sense, if they move to Prime, it could end up being that way to where they're able to get the same events, not have to have everybody on staff there, so maybe it's a little cost effective, and they're able to do more with the technology. So with every dark cloud, there's always that silver lining that maybe something good can come out of this. And I'm trying to be really positive, but it really does suck. I almost shed a tear for my friends because I know how it is to get released from somewhere, and
Yeah.
and it's not really their fault. So
Well, hey, Ralph, I mean, it's called survival. It's called a raft, so to speak. It's
right,
called being smart. It's called, hey, people have a resume. It's time for them to use them. And, and it's sometimes in this business, it's who you know and how you treated people. And that pays off with events that occur like this. I mean, you're taking
correct,
it back way back to Showtime. I remember watching as a youngster, Don King Promotions. I mean, he brought it there.
yeah,
Showtime, I mean, it really had some of the biggest events ever, as well as HBO. And I kept thinking, okay, HBO's going to make a comeback. One day they'll just come back. It was just a couple years, but no, they never surfaced again. And now Showtime. But now it gives these other opportunities for these other networks to, hey, plain and simple, route. They need to step
yeah,
up, keep boxing alive. Boxing is not dead. Boxing is going to survive. And talent is talent. Talent's going to shine regardless of where they land a spot. And at the end of the day, it could be a better move for some of these broadcasters and
yeah.
ring announcers and analysts and the whole nine.
Yeah, it could be, and that's again the silver lining is that, hey, maybe we all end up on the ground level somewhere where this new technology and AI is taken advantage of, and all of a sudden this phenomenal broadcast with green screens that can turn into like 100,000 seat arenas, and who knows what will happen. But I'm here for it. Like I said, I over the last few years had to humble myself and make sure that yes, I got to work with, and I still work with quite possibly the greatest boxer of our generation. And yes, he is the greatest boxer. I don't want to have an argument like the last guy that had an argument with him when he was dealing with Moten over there. To
Oh,
me,
oh,
he has.
we're gonna argue before the show ends, Ralph. I mean, we're gonna argue before the show ends. You already
No,
know
I'm
that.
talking about the guy that argued with him when he was with
Oh, yeah.
Krumel, because he said quite arguably, and I'm not going to say that. Obviously, yes, greatest defensive fighter, I think in history, greatest fighter of our generation, Floyd. Um, because anything could happen at any point in time, right? You
Absolutely.
never know what could happen, and look what just happened here. Like for Jimmy Leonard, for example, a great friend of mine, again, mentor. Can't say enough about the guy. I mean, he's been there since he was, it's been over 25 years. He started with those guys, right? He's been there forever. That's what he knows. Yes, he's allowed to do other things all over the world, but that's his home. So, what does he do now? Does he scale it back and kind of relax and finally, maybe retire or take a load off, or who knows? But again, you're right. It's time to step up. It's time to shake off those resumes. It's time to get going. And luckily, I've landed on my feet with a few promoters in Dubai, and they love me and they take care of me. And excuse me, the only thing is that having to drive or fly out there, it's pretty hard. You got 22 hours back and forth, and sometimes it wears on you, man. But I couldn't be happier working for them. They love boxing. They're excited, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I think what you need, Ralph, is a wingman. Okay, so
Yeah. Yeah,
I'll
I'm
shoot
gonna
you
I'm
a
gonna put
resume.
that in the I'm gonna put that in the suggestion box over there
Absolutely.
to
When you go to
Dubai.
the zone, when you go to the zone, you say, "Hey, I got this podcast, and me and this guy, we just flow together, and it's a wrap."
Okay, I will do that for sure.
Enough said. Hey, Ralph, let's talk about your buddy. You're close to the family, and mentioned as possibly the one to dethrone Canelo, and we're talking about David Benavidez, the
Correct.
monster, the Mexican monster, and he got a tough outing coming up, but yet those are the fights that he wants. Those are the opportunities that for him. So as you say, when you ring announce to shine, because he's not taking a fight that he knows it's an easy victory. He likes to
Correct.
test himself and he likes to put himself right in the mix. And, that's going to be an exciting fight. Have you spoke to David since then? And, what's his mindset? I mean, going in, because that's a tough division now. That's going to be full of meat, 168 pounds. Now that
It is.
maybe possibly Bevo wants to come down.
Yeah, it is a tough division, and I'll tell you, he's been really hitting it hard in camp. I have not called him yet because I'm waiting for it to kind of die down. I mean, they're all
Yeah.
over him right now. He looks good, and it breaks my heart because this is the second time that he's fought that I've had to be in Dubai. And we have a card scheduled the same day. I'm not going to be able to be there, so it's really, really frustrating. But again, that's the sport. But I'm glad that he's taking this fight. I'm glad that, you know, say what you want about Canelo. He's paid his dues. He's fought a lot of tough fighters. But look, let's be realistic here. And I'm not being silly. He's got a line of alcohol out. He's got tequila out. He has a tequila infused drinks. The dude is wearing D&G 20 grand pajamas to the weigh-in. Ventures all over outside of boxing, and he is allowed to do that. He is allowed to do that because he has been around for so long. Is it worth him for the whole conglomerate that he's building to get ruined by going in there and facing a David Morrell or a David Benavidez? That's something that he has to answer. For me, in my opinion, um, he blames it on a lot of things. He hasn't done anything yet. His dad talks too much. Show me something. You got busted. You got your belts taken away. There's a lot of things that he's said, and at the end of the day, maybe that's the third fight in the PBC contract.
Thank
Maybe
you.
it's not. Maybe it's not. If it were me, I would have done that fight first rather than wait a year and a
Because
half
David
down the
keeps getting
road.
better.
Yeah, because David is
David's
getting
getting
better,
seasoned.
and if he happens to beat Andrade, who's going to give him a good fight, then where do you go from there? David 2 days ago said, "Hey, if you don't fight me and he does not want to fight me, then you got to strip the belt because I'm here. I've been the mandatory for over 2 years. Let's do this thing." I think it's going to be a good fight. I think that David, his power is getting better. Um, he's always kind of had, for being 168, the speed as well as the power makes for a deadly combination. But Andre can box. Boo Boo is a good boxer. So I can't wait for that fight. I'm excited. I'm excited for Andre to be able to get a fight finally of that caliber that he's been wanting
Yeah.
so bad. You know, it's not
Yeah.
the Canelo fight, but it's Benavidez, and Benavidez has defeated Caleb Plant. Ran through David Lemieux in like 9 milliseconds. So it's a good matchup. It's a good matchup, and may the best man win. But you know, of course, he's like David's like my family, and I want him to succeed. I do want him to fight Canelo, and they could have that fight at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
and I guarantee you they'd probably sell about 50 to 60,000 seats. That's just me, but we'll see.
That fight needs to happen. David, first of all, needs to be successful in this next outing. That fight needs to take place. I believe that's why Canelo signed the deal with PBC. The last time they mentioned him, he didn't say no. He didn't say yes, but he didn't say no. So I do respect that. David, you got to remember, as a youngster, what do I think?
Yeah, what do you think? Like, what do you think about the? Do you think this fight should have happened already? Do you think it's marinating? Do you think?
I think the timing's perfect. I think the timing's perfect for boxing. That fight is going to save boxing. That fight is going to be historic. That fight's going to be incredible. But you know, to talk about it in detail is disrespecting Boo Boo right now.
Correct.
And you know, I don't want to do that. But yet, that's the fight America wants to see. That's the next one that's going to happen. Clarissa Shields said about a year ago in an interview, these guys need to fight each other. And they do. And, you know, it's starting to happen. These guys are starting to realize, hey, you can't run anymore. I mean,
and people
are going to cross.
You can't say that David really hasn't earned it. You know, two-time champ, interim champ now. Like, he's a mandatory. Look, brother, if you don't want to fight him, it's okay. We get it. You have a whole life outside of boxing now. You got your Viva Mexico Cabrones drink he just came to Phoenix again and was marketing all over town. And it's a business. It's the Conor McGregor effect after the proper 12. It's business outside of your arena. You're no longer starving for your next fight, and you're now in tune with your children. That's why, like, when I watch, the 24/7s and the All Access, you got to really pay attention to what's going on. Like a Gervonta Davis, people say, Gervonta's this, he's that. He don't care. He's from the streets. But if you really go back and look at these All Access, especially the last one, he's figuring out, okay, even as much as a few months ago, dude, I have children. Like, I need to start buying property. I need to start buying houses. Yes, the Lamborghini's cool. But damn, dude, I love this house that I'm renting right now, that I'm in. I want to buy one like this. Like, for some people, it takes until they're 40 or 50 to figure out what's going on in life. For some, they figure it out rather early. Hopefully for these guys, like a Gervonta and the younger kids, they start realizing that there's stuff outside of the ring that can help them while they're inside of the ring. Canelo obviously probably makes way more outside than inside. So, first David's got to get by Boo Boo. You're right.
Let me reflect back with Frank Davis. He had some personal alone time, and that's the time to reflect. And that's when he did reflect. He is, and it comes with maturity. And as far as Canelo, that's the same blueprint as Floyd Mayweather as far as a businessman. And I will say this. I may not say he's the best fighter out there, but he is the best businessman in boxing, period. Bar none, period. But the blueprint was written by Sugar Ray Leonard. He always had to be the A side. He was the shot caller. What size gloves? When do you come in? What we're wearing? Who the referee was? How big the ring was? But he earned that. And Floyd just took it to another level. And he's so passionate about boxing. Floyd loves the sport of boxing, is why he continues to enter the ring and loves it. He doesn't ever, as you know, have to do it again, but he loves it. So why run from it? He calls it easy work. He calls it easy money. He's a businessman first and foremost. What I do admire about him is he never tips his hat. He never tells you what he's thinking. He never tells you his next move. He just does it. And, enough about that. What I will say about David Benavidez is as a 168 pounder, I'm not talking about, first of all, I wore this in tribute for Tommy the Hitman Hearns. It's his birthday.
Nice.
In my opinion, the true GOAT, the best of all time, unbeatable at 147 pounds. If you don't believe me, ask the interview that we did with Max. Unbeatable. But as he moved up to 160, 168, You know who reminds me of him a lot, and that's David Benavidez. David Benavidez reminds me of Tommy the Hitman Hearns, especially with the fro, moving
Mhm.
around, and he's
Oh
moving
yeah,
around,
that
and
thing that thing's
he just
larger
kind of
than charge
reminds me
now.
of him. What's that?
That fro's larger than charge now. That's for sure.
Oh
David's
yeah,
fro is like he's got a Ronald McDonald going on right now. It looks good.
absolutely. But it works for him. It works
Yes.
for him. Not everybody can get away with that, and I look forward to that fight. I think it is going to take place, but as he said, he has business ahead of him. The fans want to see it. It's going to be in high demand. And I look forward to David Benavidez, and I brought him up because he's one of the uncrowned heroes. A lot of people they'll talk about him for a season, but he needs to be mentioned and has the possibility of being in the top 5 pound for pound in the world. And that's
Yes.
a tough that's the pound for pound list right now today as we speak. Arguably, you could put there's a top 5, and they could easily be number 1. And we can go on and debate that. You said Floyd about being a defensive fighter. I always think of Pernell Whitaker. But Floyd, of course, Floyd wasn't just a defensive fighter. I mean, he made you where you didn't want to punch anymore because you paid the price. I mean, he
Correct.
popped you. Floyd
Correct.
was a puncher boxer, and Floyd's chin is underrated. Floyd's power is underrated. Hector Macho Camacho, his chin, he had one of the best chins in boxing because a lot of people
Yes,
wanted
sir.
to knock him out, and no one knocked him out.
Yes, sir. And let me tell you
And,
something about David. And again, I'm not just saying these things because yes, he's like family to me. But look, people on Twitter still beat him up for the mistakes that happened, 5, 6, 7 years ago. We've all made mistakes. He's admitted the mistake, and you've never had that problem again.
no.
People say, well, he can't make the weight at 168. That's bull. He missed weight one time in a pandemic bubble where he had access to the gym the last 5 days for literally 2 hours. Now,
Yeah.
if he was missing weight again over and over and over again, then yes, get your ass up to 175 and stop playing yourself. But he hasn't had any problems.
No.
So we can throw those two narratives out already. I just can't wait for this fight. It's a good fight. David's going to get tested. And like I said, may the best man win. Boo Boo's coming. Listen, Boo Boo has to come with everything because he has been waiting in the wings like like that superstar that gets traded to another high school, down the road because his mom and dad had to move jobs, and then
Yeah.
nobody knows about him, so he's just sitting there on the bench, and he gets in and scores 30 points, and then the rest is history. Now, can he score 30 points? Boxing wise against David, who knows what we're going to see. I'm going to be watching it on my VPN in Dubai because they block everything, but I will be somehow, some way watching that fight. That's for sure.
Well, one thing I know you do watch, and I'm over 2 against you right now. You're Arizona beat the Dodgers. I mean, we choked completely. You guys swept us.
Yeah.
Your Cardinals beat my Cowboys. So, hey,
Yeah.
Phoenix right now is living high right now. I mean, they got
That's
some
our
big
only
victories,
win.
man,
That's
especially
our only
baseball.
win, by the way.
It is, but you know what? Hey, to Phoenix, it was a Super Bowl. It gave
Listen,
them
that's
some
our
pride. It made
that's
us feel
our
good.
Super Bowl when we beat the Cowboys. You know that, right? Like
Yeah, I know that.
that's our ASU versus U of A when we beat the Cowboys. I don't care if we lose any other games. It always feels good to beat Dallas, man, because you guys used to trounce on us for so long in the NFC East. Every time you guys would come to Sun Devil Stadium, all the crowd was the Cowboys. I mean, it was just sickening, man. I just grew a disdain for the Cowboys because we used to get beat up all the time. But now we are 7 of our last 8 against you guys, and hopefully that streak can keep going on, man.
We shall see, man.
In
So
all funny games, you guys are actually doing really well, and you guys are almost at that Eagles level, man. I feel like you guys are right there. Watched the game the other night. It's you guys look pretty good, and I think you guys are going to be down to the wire. You and the Eagles. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be good to watch. That's for
I
sure.
think so. I think it'll be close, and that's why they play the game. You're being real humble right now, very humble right now. What is this that I go on YouTube and I'm looking at a video game and I see the ring announcer. I see you ring announcing in a video game. I also see you working the corner in a video game. Talk to us about that. Was that just a flash? Is it something coming out? How can we get it? How can we view it? What's going on?
Yeah, so the game is called Undisputed. It has been a master plan. Look, we haven't had a video game in 10 years. Shouts out to Todd Grisham. play-by-play for DAZN and for Ash over at Steel City Interactive. Listen, they are building the most awesome boxing game that has ever been created. There's so many fighters that they have signed. There's so many cool arenas. 4K resolution. You got Canelo in the game. You got Bud Crawford in the game. You got Ryan Garcia in the game, and many others that I can't mention yet because I'll be kicked out of my role. But yes, Jimmy Lennon and I are ring announcers in the game. And I'm very, very flattered and very honest. When the game started, we had some conversations early on. It was still kind of a work in progress. These guys are from England, so it's even more so like, hey, we think highly enough of you that even though you're an American, we could use the guys here. We're going to use you. And I've been helping them because, like they were a small team. It was a team of 10 guys at first. They're growing massively, but the game is incredible. It's called Undisputed. And the beta version of this game is right now on Steam. So if you have Steam.com or the Steam app, you're able to go, and it's like $20 or $29, but it's phenomenal. Even the beta system is awesome. And I haven't done my vocals yet. We're waiting on that. So in the meanwhile, before that, I said, hey, well, just throw me in the game somewhere. Just, I got scanned, and so now I get to walk out Muhammad Ali with Stitch, and I'm in the corner of these guys, and it's pretty phenomenal, man. And I'm very blessed to be in the game. I'm very blessed that they've asked me to be in the game. And I used to create myself in all these video games that I would play. And now, for the first time ever, it's kind of crazy that someone else has created me. And I will be in this game forever and ever, which I think is really, really cool. Again, I'm very humbled by it because Richard, we want all these things in our life. We dream of being this level and that level, but we met on early on, and a lot of people didn't like. When you get into the boxing business, you feel you have to be tough like the fighters. You have to be brash and say things and kind of stick up for yourself. But it's not really what you need to do. You said it earlier. You got to be really good to people. You got to respect people. And you have to be honest with yourself. And I think that by that mindset a few years ago, just changing the way, yes, I get to ride with Floyd. And yes, I get to announce for him. And yes, he doesn't use anybody else. But I get to go tell the story so that the 14-year-old that lives down the street from me, who's dreaming of getting out of a situation that he's in, maybe with gangs or drugs, that, hey, man, well, this guy grew up in my neighborhood in South Phoenix, like, he made it. Why can't I make it? If I could just get one out of there, one kid to realize that, man, I'm worth it. I'm special. I'm somebody. All I got to do is believe in myself and not take no for an answer and keep knocking down these doors that keep getting shut in your face because just as well as I do, Mr. Ortiz, these doors in this industry get shut and they shut them hard. And it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes when you and I know that the talent in this podcast between the two of us is there. But when the door shuts on you for whatever reason, it sucks because I've had plenty of doors shut on me. I still get doors shut on me all the time. And I'm like, wait a minute, well, you guys, who did you use? Use this guy? Or are you kidding me? We still have self-doubt sometimes, but we have to hone it in and realize and treat it like, okay, God, you have allowed me to get here. I should be very happy and blessed because 99% of all people dream of getting just to do one card. And look at what I've done so far, Lord. Like, thank you for what you've done for me. And that's the mindset that, once I did that, Rich, a lot of things changed for me. And I've been able to make amends and tell the people that I've not treated badly, but just kind of didn't say the right things or didn't respect them enough. And Kenny Bayless helps me with that a lot. Kenny Bayless is a very strong Christian, but his words of wisdom, Ortiz, I'm telling you, man, next time, you spent time with us there after the fights there at the MGM Grand, and his aura is breathtaking because it's like his story doesn't compare to ours at all. We can combine our stories together and it still wouldn't equal 30 years trying to become a referee, not elite referee, like just to become a referee in boxing. That man spent 30 years trying and having every door closed on him. He went from refereeing the amateurs in Nevada for 15 years, man. They wouldn't even give him a shot. Then he got to be an inspector for another 10. We're at 25 years now. I can't believe I've been here 25 years. They won't even let me referee a bout, a professional bout. Then he stays there and decides, I'm going to quit. And then he says, hell no, I'm not going to quit. I've come this far. And then he gets in there after a year like 27, 28. And then he becomes an elite referee, one of the best to ever do it. That is phenomenal. So me crying over a 6-year window that I had that I wasn't doing anything, man, I have no room to talk. And it changed my life. And to this very day, I tell everybody, it changed my life. The very first fight I had in Vegas on the Mayweather card, on that Showtime card, the referee was Kenny Bayless, and it was a blessing from the Lord and changed my way of thinking forever. So when I see people that are hungry, even if they're my competition, I always hope to God that it makes them, whatever they're doing, whether it's a smaller card, non-TV, television. You know, non-TV cards are awesome, man, because you get to interact with the fans. You get to give them,
Yeah.
you know, you don't have nobody yelling in your ear every 30 seconds. Hey, hurry up or do this or get in position.
Get to the
No,
line.
man, you get to see that 7-year-old kid. Hey, I got a shirt for you. And you made that kid's life. He will never forget it. Oh, remember that one time I went to boxing and I got that shirt? I still have it in my cajon 20 years later. It don't even fit him anymore. He's a grown man, but he
Yeah.
still remembers that. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. So the game, you know, being able to work with Floyd, it's time to give back, brother. And that's what I've been trying to do is like, you know, I'm doing an anti-bully fest in March here in Phoenix. I'm going to be bringing some people over to be able not to teach kids how to kick somebody's ass, but sometimes bullying happens when somebody is not confident in their own self. You know,
Yeah. Low
they
self-esteem.
and bullies see that. They see they
I
only
see that.
mess with people that are weak, Richard. And even as adults, you know, bullies happen all over the place, not just with kids. It happens in the industry that we're in. It happens at work. It happens anywhere. Grown men bully other men and women.
Some managers and promoters are bullies.
I agree. I agree because people don't know how to stick up for themselves, and it's the confidence. You know, world champions still get pushed around by managers and promoters, and what are they going to do? You know, so I'm going to do that, and I think that good things will come of it. You know, my career ended today. I can go back and reflect and be happy. Yes, I see people that are barely coming into the industry that are getting televised gigs. I don't get upset. I wish them the best because that was the right fit for those guys. And that if that's what the network wants, then that's what they're going to get. A lot of new guys coming in that are fairly new that are already on television. Great for them. You know, they were in the right place at the right time and reach out to the right person. Sometimes that's what it takes. I don't hate on anybody. You know, at first I would get a little envious. Oh man, are you kidding me? They hired this guy, whatever. But it's all a blessing. The non-televised cards are a blessing. The televised cards are blessings. The weigh-ins, anything we're allowed to do God's work is a blessing, and that is the demeanor that I've been able to be happy with my life and make my life outside the ring even better because I tell you, I have someone who supports me 24/7 now. My girl, she lets me do my thing. She doesn't make me feel pressured about having to go to Vegas for 4 days for meetings or Dubai for a week and a half and come back. When I come back, she's here. My family's supportive. You know, my kids, sometimes I have to tell them that, listen, I know you had this thing planned 2 Saturdays from now. I know we're supposed to go to Dave and Buster's, but I promise you, let me go take care of this thing over here in Abu Dhabi real quick, and I'll be right back, and I'll make it even better for you, and we'll do something really special. And for the most part, they don't really care with what I do. They're not really excited about going to the fights. They just know Dad gets in the ring and yells his ass off, and that's all that matters. But everything in a complete circle, you have to manage it correctly because one thing can throw you off and deteriorate all of it. And that's what we, as in this industry, you being a family man and then doing this, as well as myself trying to be a good dad, brother, son to my mom and my dad and my step parents. Like, it's all matters, and it all has to fit in the pocket, and it's very tiresome. It's very tiring. Sometimes I'm like, man, like, I needed 4 hours of sleep, and I'm excited. But it's all worth it. It's all worth it to be able to say to that 8-year-old that sees you in the crowd, I want to be like Ramblin' Ralph, or I want to do that. Now, you don't have to be like me, but I want to announce too, I can do that. Okay, buddy, work hard. Don't take no for an answer. Keep practicing. Keep your nose clean and whatever you're doing, and you too can make it. So that's become the motto of everything. It's no longer, hey, I want a Lambo and be like Buffer. When you first get in, it's okay, I'm working this event. Who can I help now? Who can I reach out to? Who can I inspire? And that makes me happier than anything. So,
And that's hard to come by. Nobody really opens and gives advice when asked upon it. A lot of people, they stick to their own circle, and I respect that. My way of thinking is Ralph, is I feel like that contender, that top contender that says, I want a shot at the title because I can beat that guy. I can compete with that guy. But until that opportunity, man, Ralph, I'm going to say this. I feel I can compete with anybody in the whole world as far as interviewing people. I just can. I'm not saying I'm better.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
You give me one opportunity. I don't need no notes. I don't need no anything. Let it fly, and I'll act like I've been there before because I'm not there to embarrass myself.
Of course.
It's hard to get that opportunity. You talk about doors that have been closed. I'm trying to get to the door, brother.
Yeah.
You know what? Hey, I'm still breathing. I'm still having Ramblin' Ralph on the show, and life goes on. I'm blessed to have a platform. I'm blessed. And see, I don't like to use that term. I always say, can we get you on our show? Is it possible you can come on our show? And I tell people, get the camera off and you put it onto the platform itself. It's the people's platform. It's the people's show. It's the fighter's voice, the only voice that matters. And it gets so frustrating sometimes, Ralph, to know that you have people on your show that are worldwide, but yet the following isn't exactly where it needs to be. The marketing, the subscribers, so to speak. But
right.
That story you just told me right now about Velez, that's inspiring me because I've had those road that fork in the road where, okay, should I call it a day? Should I do this? And I can't do that. And
I have too. I ain't gonna lie to you. I have too, Richard.
I can't. I made a promise and I'm going to fulfill it, and I'm going to keep pushing forward. Something's bound to happen. And
it is going to happen. When you least expect it, I promise you, something's going to happen. And now, because there is no more big networks to take over everything, now things are going to start having to span out. And this is where you're going to make your mark. And we can talk about that off camera because, maybe we can sit down and figure something out because you're too good to not get an opportunity. I'll tell you that. Otherwise, I wouldn't come on your show, to be honest with you, because here's the thing. Everybody wants to do the podcast, right? And that's fine. Like, I'm not saying you're not worthy enough for me to be on. Sometimes when I speak what I'm trying to get across, that's not what they want to hear. They want me to come on and be drama and be this and, who don't you like and who do you like? I'm like, I'm not here for that. And it happened the last 2 times. I'm like, look, I'm not here for that. Like, I will tell you this. Most announcers do not talk to me. They do not talk to me. I talk to David Diamante. I talk to Thomas Schreiber. I talk to Jimmy Lennon, of course. Thomas Schreiber, very nice guy. Jimmy Lennon, my mentor. And to be honest with you, man, and that's it. Like, those are the only announcers that I talk to. I don't talk to anybody else. I'm trying to be cool with everybody else, but I don't have any envy or hate or like, I can't talk to him. You know why? Because I believe in my work. I believe there's plenty of work. I don't need to be scared of anyone. Now, if we go back and say, okay, well, that guy said that about you, do you care to comment on it? No. I just keep it in the memory bank, and I make sure I just keep to myself when it comes to that because, again, I'm not here for drama. Boxing is gigantic worldwide, but it's also this small. So I learn my lesson now to try to just do my thing, show up at the event, show my love to all the people that deserve the love, even the ones that don't, you go, hey man, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day. Good to
Yeah,
see you.
I agree
Good to
with you.
see you.
I
And you
agree.
just move on and do you're not there for them at the end of the day. You're there for your family. So if they don't like it, well, I'm sorry. I'm here and deal with it.
Well, there's a test personally coming up for me, and I know I'm ready to tackle it. I know I'm going to be, hold my head up high. What's very humbling for me, Ralph, is there's two major events coming to. Actually, it's Madera residents at Table Mountain. I haven't been offered the gig. They're using somebody else. There's a big event coming to Fresno. I haven't been contacted. They're offering it to somebody else. So there's two things I can say. Okay, I don't want to go, but I'm a supporter of boxing, so I'll probably buy a ticket, sit back and relax. I'll get a little like antsy, like, oh, I want to go do some interviews, interview this fighter, but maybe that's my time for me to just sit down and relax. And whoever they got and whoever they hire, I hope they knock it out of the park completely. And I mean that in the bottom of my heart. So that's some humble pie for me. And
Well,
that's
I'm going to tell you what I did before I started working with the Mayweather Promotions. And I give this advice to everyone that asks me. Before I started working with Mayweather Promotions, there was a person named Bob Ware who is the trainer and cut man for him, Devin Haney, Jake Paul. He's fantastic. I think he's the best in the world as far as hand wrapping and cut man. He's phenomenal. Jake Paul had that nasty cut.
What's his name
Jake Paul
again?
had that nasty cut, and he stopped it within a round and a half, and it never bled again. And if you go back and look at that fight, Jake Paul's cut was gnarly, dude. It was disgusting, and he fixed it within like a round and a half. And I'm like, dude, you finally got to shine, man. Because some cut man, they not to be mean, but they hope they get a cut so they can show what Just like for
Exactly.
me,
I agree with you. That's the only way you're going to prove that you could do
yeah,
what you're hired for.
yeah, some ring
Unfortunately,
announcers
that's
get
the nature of
scared
the
when they
beast.
have to read a decision. Like when ring announcers get a decision, like, oh my God, I got to read the decision. No, yes, it went the distance because then you get to show everybody what's really going on, and that's where you really get, you're practicing doing decisions, and I enjoy those, especially the split draws or the split decisions. Those are my favorite. Those are my favorite. But so before I got hired. There was like 3 or 4 shows that I went to, and I bought 4 tickets in the front row. I brought 2 of my friends who were beautiful. They were just my friends. I said, we're gonna go to Vegas. We're gonna go and have a good time. We're gonna have a cocktail. We're gonna say hi to everybody, and we're gonna have the best time of our lives. I did it 3 times. After the third time, Floyd came and shook my hand. Leonard Ellaby came and shook my hand because they already knew that I was, inquiring about working for them. Kenny Bayless, wasn't friends with him like that back then. And then the next month they called me. So yes, dude, go to the show. Yes, make sure you're there. Make sure you have a good time. And I'm telling you, don't stop. Just don't stop inquiring. You got to keep trying. If they tell you no one time, send another email. I'm gonna be honest with you right now. There's a couple of promoters that I really want to do a couple of gigs with that I'm trying, and they're really reluctant. I think sometimes because of the whole Floyd situation, they think that I'm going to be over there causing drama, asking for $50,000 to announce the cards. No, I just support who supports me, and I support him hard.
Sure.
Just like every other promotion, people are like, why are you wearing that Jake Paul shirt? Because I work for him, man. I work with him. Like, I'm going to support him. That's crazy to some people. And yes, it's Floyd's kind of not rival, but, stole your hat kind of thing. And that shit never got resolved. But nonetheless, Floyd respects it. Floyd lets me go do my thing. And he respects it, just like he goes and does his thing. But never give up. And I've already sent like 4 or 5 emails. Like, dude, you're not going to get away from this. This is what you need. I am what you need. I'm not saying that what you're using now is not what you need, but if you want to get to here, give me a shot, and we'll see what happens. So you just got to keep going, Rich. I mean, just keep going, dude.
Absolutely.
Again, the Bayless thing will never let me quit anything, because if that man can sit there for 30 years and keep trying and never give up, almost close to giving up, but not give up, there's no reason why you and I should either. So we got to keep going for it, man.
That's a great testimony. Well, let me ask you this: who's going to give up in San Francisco when it's Devin Haney and Regis Prograis. When I say give up, who's going to surrender all that, just leave it all in the ring? And in that particular day or moment, it just wasn't good enough because their opponent was the better man. Who do you
Okay,
have
so
in that
again,
fight and why? And what do you think of the matchup?
the matchup's a good matchup for Prograis, and let me tell you why. That man cracks. Joe Cepeda is married to married into my cousin's family. I've known the kid for a long time. Joe Cepeda cracks. He takes a good punch. He told me, dude, this guy cracks. Okay. Um, Haney is more of a complete boxer, right? But I can't get out of my head when Linares clipped him at the Mandalay Bay and almost had him on his feet. And Jorge Linares does not do that to a lot of people. So Prograis has the power with one punch to end anyone's night at 135, at 140, 140, whatever in that bundle. You can go up or down one or the other. Even at 147, I'm forgive me for saying this, I may be out of pocket, but if Prograis were to go to 147, I still think he can knock fighters out. He's that powerful. Now, will Haney let him? Will he use the tactics? Will Linares? Pro boxers do a lot of things. Now, holding, although people think that it's a foul, holding is some sort of holding is allowed at some
Tying
point.
up.
Yes, you could tie up. I asked Kenny Bennis this question. I said, dude, why are they not? He says, because that's allowed. And now when you start fouling when you're holding, it's a whole different story, and that's when you're supposed to warn them. Will he go to that tactic, or will he move around, stay on the outside? It's going to be a fantastic fight. The salt in the food, the special ingredient in all of this is the Bay Area love their sports. They don't have a lot of it, but when someone fights there that they're rooting for, dude, you experience this in that whole region. The Nanas come out, the Tatas come out, the Fios come out, their cousins come out. Dude, they already sold 10,000 in the pre-sale. The place is going to be rocking, dude. And if Prograis can manage to not let that affect him, maybe he has a chance. Haney's a very good boxer. Does he have the power to knock somebody out cold? We know that that's probably not going to happen, not likely to happen. And Prograis, I think, has the ability to do that. So it's going to be a very enticing fight. Um, Bob Ware is the cut man. So for me, it's like my buddy's going to go work in Haney's corner. I know Serafina pretty well, the lady that works for Devin Haney. So basically, like, my friends are going to be in that corner. I like Prograis as a boxer, though. So may the best man win. I don't really have an answer for you. It's going to be if Haney can stay away from the power, he's going to win the fight. If Prograis is able to land and land flushly, he has a chance to end his night rather quickly. So that's what I want to see is, okay, Haney gets hit for the first time with the left hook. How does he respond? Can he respond, and can he get back on track? Or does Haney never let Prograis even get to that point? That's going to be the chess match, and I can't wait for it. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Well, to look back when Haney got hurt, in all due respect, it was probably weight problems. I don't know, but he didn't react too well. I will say that.
Yeah.
Regis needs to do his homework and cut the ring off in order. If not, he's going to be chasing him all night. Haney reminds me of a modern day Terry Norris, but not quite the offense, pure boxer.
Right.
I think Haney is going to come in stronger because finally, I mean, those 5 pounds is going to sit on him pretty well. I do think if it gets ugly, and Regis needs to make it ugly, he needs to force the fight, impose his will. I just wish he would move his head in a little bit more. You know, he has that long neck and he's open for that counter or right hook. But that power, I mean, I agree with you. He hits like a 160 pounder. And if you look at his base, his legs, his calves, he has that power that at any point in the round, he could be losing the entire fight. If he lands clean, that's all she wrote. I mean, he's a great finisher, and he's exactly where he needs to be. I mean, he's a 2-time world champion, wanted to face the best, turned down some other opponents because he wanted the big names, and he's getting the big fights. And as far as him handling San Francisco, You got to remember, he went down to Josh Taylor's hometown. He went down to Cepeda, LA's hometown, and he was getting booed in his ring walk. I think he'll be fine in San Francisco, but as you say, they're very passionate about their sports, and they love to support Devin Haney.
What do you think? How do you think it's going to play out? How do you think it's going to play out?
I mean,
you don't have to say,
I didn't like the size difference at the press conference, and I see little things. I can say things, and I've changed my picks right before the bell rang.
Yeah,
and, I had Josh Taylor over Teofimo Lopez, but so I put it on record. I called Lee Samuels real quick. I said I'm changing my pick. I got Teofimo Lopez by knockout, but it didn't happen. It was pretty close when he had him hurt. He was he stuck to the game plan and didn't lose that game plan. I changed my picks before that first bell rang. I was back and forth with Regis and Cepeda. Before that bell rang, I had to go with what I saw. I'm pulling right now as we speak for Regis Prograis. I'm not going to turn my back. I've been following him, supporting him, and talking to him. And where he's at, he's in a good place, Ralph. Trust me. He is confident.
He looks like he's in a good place.
He is chill, in a good place right now.
Now, look, today there was a video came out that Haney's father, they were getting into it a little bit at the face-off, and again, maybe that might be a tactic to get Prograis. Maybe he saw he was a little too chill, a little too relaxed, and
Regis is smart because Regis wants to fucking knock him out. Let's keep it real, but he says no. He has skill, so I'm going to show him my skill. Yeah, right. No, he's not. He's going to go for the kill. He's not there to get skill.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. That's the chess match, man.
I'm the best defensive fighter. I pivot and I move. No, he's going to go in there and not change his style and go for the kill.
And that's where a pure boxer can either not make adjustments or make adjustments and then pick you apart. So that's going to be the chess match. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be really great. I had a fight scheduled that day and they changed it, so I'm going to relax on my couch here and I'm going to enjoy that. I might even, if there's a ticket available, I might even catch a Southwest special and head up there and check it out. Who knows?
Well, when you get that ticket, Ralph, kind of go like this. Like when those two 20s are stuck together, make sure there's not two in there.
Okay. How are you not putting a credential in for that fight, man?
I am going to do that, and we'll see what happens.
Do it now. Is it open? Is it open?
I just recently opened up.
Okay, do it right away.
Yeah. I'll beat that deadline. I think the key is going to be if Devin Haney can establish the jab throughout the whole fight and can get inside and make it ugly. It's going to be a great fight. I think it's good for boxing. A lot of people aren't too high on that. That's because they're naive in boxing, man. I mean, some of these guys, they don't know a great matchup when they see it right in front of them.
I think it's phenomenal matchup. Actually, it's going to be really, really good.
And
that's why I said I might have to be there. My buddy Bob is going down there. I might have to go support him.
There you go. It sounds like you're sliding down there in the Bay Area.
I might see you there. We might have to have a spring water, you and I together.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's right.
And you got to give props for Devin. His first trip at 140 pounds, he's taken on the face of that division. Hey. He beat the man, and to earn that.
The winner of this fight is going to control the whole division. And even if a Garcia or anybody else that tries to challenge those guys, let's just be real. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen at all. And if Tank were to happen to move up because he just can't make the weight anymore, then guess what? Then that's a whole nother conversation that we'll have. But for right now, as we speak, the winner of this fight coming up on the 9th is going to control the whole mountain, and they're going to control it for as long as they can, or someone by the name of Tank comes up and wants to challenge them, and we'll see what happens.
I agree with you. I want to say this before I let you go, is that Tank is one of the smart, if not the smart, Tank and Canelo are the smartest fighters in the world right now today. Tank, is so brilliant. Things just register. They just click. He sees everything. It breaks it. It's almost like, like Predator. No, in Terminator, when he sees it, it just locks it. He just boom. He knows the spots. The guy is brilliant.
Yeah.
And when they let him throw a 1-2, he's suckering you into you because he is the hardest counterpuncher in the business.
I got to tell you the story. So we went back. We went back to, and I didn't mean to cut you off. Maybe we have a little time delay.
Yeah, you did.
But No, no, it's because I'm getting like a 2-second feedback, and I apologize because I'm on my
No,
phone.
no, no.
But
I want to hear. Hey, man, I'm busting your balls, bro.
so he told me when we got back, and Coach Calvin too, they saw that he liked throwing that same punch multiple times throughout his fights, right? You
Yeah.
cannot throw the same punch 3 times in a row. It happened. He said, I saw the first one. The second one came right after that, and I already knew that the third one was coming. And as soon as that third one came, that counter uppercut came, and he goes, I knew I was gonna land that punch. I
I
was
like
waiting
that.
for it, and it came. He just Tank spars super middleweights and drops them at the Mayweather gym. I don't know if that's been out yet or not, or leaked or whatever. Can't leak shit anymore because everybody's putting their phones out every 2 seconds now. But that happens. He spars kids at that weight class for reasons, and I'm just look, Haney and Prograis is going to be a great fight. I'm going to do my best to get there. Hopefully, we'll see you there.
Yes.
And again, the winner of that fight, they control the mountain. And then we'll worry about Tank when he decides to move up. We'll figure that out.
Exactly. Well, Ralph, how can we follow you? How can we stay in contact?
My
What's your
IG is.
What's your Twitter? What's your handle?
Man, we always have this conversation about Twitter. My Twitter game is terrible.
I know,
I'm
but Twitter's
losing followers there, man. I'm losing followers on my Twitter instead of gaining. I'm having that problem that you're having with the video, but I'm losing followers. I guess I'm not drama enough for Twitter, but my IG is Ramblin' Ralph without the G, so RAMBLIN, just like the bag right here, like that, and
Nice.
RAMBLIN. It's just all one word. If you just type in rambling without the G, I'm usually the first couple ones that pop up. And then my Facebook is Ralph Velez, although I don't know if you're using Facebook a lot anymore, but man, IG is kind of taking over the world right now. So
Yeah.
I've been, if I do the IG, it'll go to my Facebook automatically. So I use the IG more than anything. But
if I gotta sell something real quick or let everybody know, hey, I got some tickets, I'll use Facebook. To me, it's more like family thing.
You're right. Facebook is more of
it's like Disney Channel. It's kind of like the Disney Channel, and then you got your R-rated, and then you got your PG-13, bro.
Oh yeah. But the Facebook is Ralph Velez, VELEZ, and please reach out. I contact and talk with everybody. I don't have people handling my accounts or whatever. You respond, you follow, I'll follow back. I want to give back to the world, man, and we got to do it any way we can.
Well, Ralph, you know what? It's always a pleasure having you on, and we can talk boxing all day long. It's like two guys in the garage having a beer, a cold one, and
Thank you.
But it's facts. I mean, you get to let everybody know your insides, and because you're rubbing elbows with all these guys, and yet you inform them, but you're not tattletailing. You know what I'm saying? You're the fly on the wall,
we can't. It's my energy with these guys is pure, and what I mean by that is I'm not back there latching onto these guys trying to get the news and go be out here telling everybody what's going on. I let other people do that. I'm just there for the energy. I'm there to get good vibes. I want to give a shout out before I leave to some promoters real quick, if I may, in Dubai. Absolutely. There's a promoter, RSG Promotions. They brought me over, and they don't have a lot of sponsors. They don't have a lot of corporations behind them, networks behind them. She saw the Floyd fight. She was there in Dubai, and I got a phone call from these sisters. There's 3 of them. And they said, hey, our father passed away from COVID. He was one of the longest promoters here in Dubai. We heard you at Floyd's fight. Will you come back? I had just gotten home, Ortiz. I had just walked in the door from being over there. I said, yeah, when's your show? I'll go back. She's on Saturday. I said, I just literally walked in the door from being out there. I wish I would have done. I would have stayed there. But I went back. And I went back. It was brutal flight, 23 hours each way. Ooh. And I just got home the next day. I went right back. But let me tell you, it was the most rewarding thing that I've ever done because these girls did everything. They're matchmakers. They're the promoters. They get the venue. They sign the fighters. They have the WBC Middle East that loves them. The first show they did was on the beach in Palm Island and Dubai. They again no sponsors. They all the work that they do in their gym, they save up and do this show. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it now, but their next show is going to be on the Queen Elizabeth II ship in Dubai, on the ship. First time ever that's going to go down, and they're doing it all by themselves. And I'm trying to reward them with some kind of network to pay attention to these ladies because they are phenomenal. They are true. They take care of me. They don't even let me take my luggage to my car when I leave the hotel. That's how sweet these girls are. And I want to give another shout out to Siddiqui Boxing in Abu Dhabi. He's been there in Abu Dhabi for over 15, 20 years. He's trying to definitely change the game out there. They brought me out, Jose Mohan from the commission out there. Big shout out to you guys out there. Big shout out to Steven Espinoza, Chris de Blasio, Gordon Hall, Joe Giacovino, all the people that worked at Showtime behind the scenes, the people that held the wires for the camera guys that would get stomped on every time Tank's entourage or Floyd's entourage would come. I didn't forget about you. I always thought about you guys, and such a thankless job that you guys have, but you gave us the best angles that in sports entertainment, man, that anybody could ask for. You guys were there on the ropes, dealing with the sweat, blood, and people jumping all over you just to get us the best shots on the network. Thank you. Felix De Jesus, Brian Cutzer, all these guys that I've grown up with. It breaks my heart that you guys won't be able to get up and go to work anymore every other weekend or once a month, and I'm sorry for that, but you guys are all talented. You are all the best at what you do. And I hope that you land something really fast, but God bless you all. And God bless you too, Mr. Ortiz. I appreciate you for having me, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. In class act, as always, and very well said. I'm sure everybody at Showtime will appreciate that. I'm going to make sure I put that in a certain area, cut it up for you, and we'll release that.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Ralph. Hey, man, I got to have you back. We'll talk after this, after we go off air. I got another guest coming on, but I got a few minutes. You got it. And, I want to thank you. And this is the best part of the show for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our guest, the Rambling Man himself. And as always, I'm your host, Richard Ortiz. It's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
Always.
Okay, fight fans, it's not goodbye, but until next week. Remember, it's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, the special guests, and all the crew, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.